Hello friends, welcome back. Today it is time to release the guidebook of the Triwizard-a-Thon. I've been looking forward to this moment because today will be only about the guidebook. We'll go through all the 32 pages. I'll explain everything to you guys. And if you like this kind of content, then don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that bell so you never miss another video of me again. Let's get into it. There will be a link to the guidebook in the description, and it will also be over at Tabby's YouTube, so Gryffindor Bookworm, because we both worked very hard on this magical readathon, the Triwizard-a-Thon. So just click on the link, download the guidebook, and just read through it once you've watched this video. And start picking your prompts and your book picks, because it starts on the 1st of November and ends on the 1st of December. And if you still have questions after this video, don't worry, because Tabby and I will do a live Q&A in the near future. I think it will be the 4th of October, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll get back to that. Or my video is just very confusing, and in that case you could just head over to Tabby because she will also be explaining the guidebook. So that's the cover. Love it, love the colors, love the gold foiling, love the design. I just love it. This is like opening a book. We want it to look like that. So you're opening the guidebook and you see the 2 pages. On the left side of the page, I'm looking down because I have my laptop in front of me so I can also see the guidebook. It says the Triwizard-a-Thon is magically brought to you by Tabatha Langley, also known as Gryffindor Bookworm, and Leanda Brooks, also known as Leanda Brooks. Yeah, that's a really stupid joke, but I just wanted to put that there. It's illustrated and designed by Lara Peeters, which you pronounce like Lara Peeters in English probably, which sounds pretty cool. She is fantastic. She's a friend of mine. She lives in the Netherlands, same as me, and she's a graphic designer. She did an amazing job, and yeah, we just love her. On the right page, you can see the 3 little stars, which is of course a reference to the Harry Potter books, a wand in the middle, and it says, "Did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire?" And that's a reference to the difference between the books and the movies, because we all know that in the movies it sounded way different than it is described in the books. And then beneath it, it says, "Well, that's that then. No turning back now." The next 2 pages are the table of contents. So it starts with an introduction, an intro, that consists of the word of welcome, the journey begins, and the rules of the Triwizard-a-Thon. Word of welcome, you can read this for yourself. I just want to point out the beautiful logo on the left page, and the text is based on the book. So we really stay close to Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. We of course tweak some things, but it's really close to the narrative of the book and the storyline of the book. So instead of participating in the Triwizard tournament and getting the Triwizard Cup, you'll be competing for the Triwizard-a-Thon Cup, the glory of your reading goals, and over 2,000 pages. These next 2 pages are all about the journey begins, and what we try to do here is really immerse you in this experience, in this tournament. Feel like you're there, feel like you're part of this. And we try to do that by using this really cool magical font and also adding images like this replica of the piece of paper that came out of the Goblet of Fire. And if you want to, you can fill in your name here. Then it says, "You've been chosen as your school's champion, and to document your progress," this is very important guys, "throughout the Triwizard-a-Thon, make sure to use the hashtag Triwizard-a-Thon on all your social media platforms." That way we can follow each other, we can communicate with each other, and we can share your posts, your reels, and your TikToks, or even your YouTube videos. That would be fun as well. So let's move on to a very important part, the rules of the Triwizard-a-Thon. These rules will definitely make sense once you've gone through the entire guidebook, because then you will see that the tournament consists of different tasks. Each task have different prompts, and with these prompts you can earn certain points, and a certain amount of points leads to different endings. In order for you to experience everything in this readathon, we highly advise you to read a minimum of 6 books, because the tournament consists of 6 tasks. There's a 7th task, which is hidden, the graveyard, and you will only get to that with a certain amount of points. But in order to progress through all the tasks, you need to read a minimum of 6 books. If you read less, that's fine as well. You will still have an ending, but it's a very definitive ending. You can set your own pace as you go through the tournament. You just have a total of 30 days, starting on the 1st of November, ending on the 1st of December, So you'll have 30 days to complete all the tasks. You start at the weighing of the wand. So again, we tried to stay as close to the books as we could. And in order for you to progress to the next task, you need to read a minimum of one book. If you want to, you can read more, but you'll just get more points. You can choose from 4 prompts, each with a set amount of points. And of course, 10 points is fairly easy and 40 points is really hard, and then you have the 20 and 30 points in between. Only one book per prompt is allowed. You cannot read a book and say that it belongs to multiple prompts, so you really have to work for your points. If you want to, you can do multiple prompts within one task, but that means you have to read 2 books or 3 or 4. So for the overachievers, you can actually read a total of 28 books for this readathon. In order for you to touch the Triwizard-a-Thon cup, the port key, you need to go through 6 tasks and have at least 240 points. That way you get teleported to the graveyard. So it is possible to not experience this part if you have chosen lesser prompts or read less books. And that's part of the fun. I mean, that's part of the competitiveness. That's a tournament. A little twist: you can earn an additional 150 bonus points by completing the bonus task. And this is not the graveyard. This is like another sneaky bonus task that you will find in between. It has something to do with Quidditch. In order to make it back alive to Hogwarts, you need to do all 4 prompts in the graveyard. So that's tough, we realize that, but it's also the graveyard. It's kind of like do or die. These next few pages are the task and the corresponding prompts. I will just go quickly over them because we'll get more like talking about prompts in later videos, because me and Tabby both have to pick our TBRs based on these prompts, and we'll also be doing a video to give you guys some inspiration on books you can choose for these prompts. A book set in a magical world, which is 10 points. A book in which a tournament is held, which is 20 points. A book with an interview in it, 30 points. And this is a reference to Rita Skeeter pulling Harry into this little like cupboard and interviewing him while he's doing the weighing of the wands. And then finally, the hardest prompt for 40 points is a book where a character wields a wand or a staff. This could potentially be really easy if you would go for a Harry Potter book, but we also want you guys to like broaden your horizon and maybe choose a different book. Chapter 2 is all about the first task with the dragons. I love this image of the golden egg, and then a quote from the book, and again on the right side the 4 reading prompts that you can choose from. Like, I love these prompts. I just want to do all of them, but I probably don't have the time for that, but we really try to do fun and innovative reading prompts for you guys. Then next up is chapter 3, the Yule Ball, because what would a Triwizard-a-Thon be without being able to go to the Yule Ball? Again, there are 4 prompts, and I think probably my favorite from these is the hardest one, a book that has characters of different backgrounds coming together, because that's basically what the Yule Ball is about. Then there's chapter 4, the egg, and we've chosen an image of the mermaid's painting because the egg gets opened in the prefect's bathroom where we can see the mermaid. And then there's of course another quote from the book, the reading prompts, and again 10 to 40 points. So here there is one prompt that may be a little bit cryptic, which is a book with gillyweed on the cover. That's the 40-point prompt, and that is any type of weed will do. Yes, pun intended. Of course we would think of seaweed, but any type of weed will do. The prompts are all self-explanatory, I think, but if it's still like unclear or you guys have questions about them, then just leave them in the comments or send us a message over at Instagram. That way we can gather up all the questions and answer them in our live. Then it's chapter 5, the second task with the mer people. Oh, I love these prompts. Like, I think this is one of my favorites. I don't know, all of them are favorites, but in this one we have a book set on the water, a book with sea creatures in it, then a book about abduction or kidnapping. And then the final prompt, which is the hardest, is you have 24 hours to read a book with a minimum of 240 pages. I mean, it's doable, but still, it's a little bit of a challenge. And that is a reference to the fact that Harry also had a limited amount of time, supposedly, to rescue Ron. And then there's chapter 6, which is also the final task in the main part of the Triwizard-a-Thon, the third task, the maze. I think these are quite clear on what you need to do, but maybe a little bit of explanation about the first one, which is a book that got lost in a maze, aka your TBR. So this just means a book on your TBR. It doesn't need to be the book that's longest on your TBR. It could be just any book on your list that you want to read, excluding the list you're coming up with for this readathon, of course. So pick a book from your TBR that you already have. A book with dark magical creatures, a book in which rivals team up to survive, and this is a reference to Cedric and Harry working together. And then the final one, the 40 points, is kind of hard because it's a book with unexpected travel. So it could be something like somebody finding themselves on a plane towards a different location, or maybe being surprised by someone that's taking them to another location, or being magically transported to a location. So unexpected travel, just like what happened within the maze with the portkey. Then chapter 7 is a bonus task. We wanted to include this for the people that did not have the time to read that many books, because as I said before, a minimum of 6 books is required to progress through the graveyard, which is like the next level part of the Triwizard-a-Thon. So if the previous rep books add up to that amount of pages, you'll get an additional 150 points on top of your total points. The reason we chose 150 points is something you can read on the right side of the page, because you are challenged to a game of Quidditch by Crumb and his friends. The results. Now, this is a very exciting page because this is the part where you take a breather, add up all those points from the prompts that you chose, the books that you read, and you can see on the right side of the page what ending you will get. So there are multiple options, and it goes from you encountered a blast ended Scrooge and died. The only thing they found was a finger. To you are the winner and touch the Triwizard-a-Thon cup. You feel a pull at your navel, hear a gush of wind. Suddenly, you find yourself in a cold, dark, and moist graveyard. So here is where it could potentially end for a lot of people, because if you did not get 240 points or more, you will not be able to go to the graveyard. And I mean, that's the competitiveness of it, that's the tournament, that's the way it is played, so we wanted to incorporate that. Chapter 8, the graveyard. There are 4 reading prompts, and as I explained at the beginning when we went through the rules of the Triwizard-a-Thon, you need to read all 4 of these prompts, all 4 books, in order to survive and make it back to Hogwarts. And for these prompts, we really wanted to come up with original and quirky things because it's a graveyard, it's spooky. So the first one is a book that is seriously dark, pun intended. Everything that is dark. So it could be a dark world, a dark character, a creature, the dark arts. Anything like that will do for this prompt. Then we have a book from an author in the graveyard. And that means read a book from an author that has passed away. A book you've thrown into the cauldron and have to resurrect. Of course, this is a reference to the cauldron that was at the graveyard. And that means pick up a book that you DNF'd. You did not finish this book, pick it up and read it. We didn't say this was going to be easy. And then the final prompt for the graveyard is a book that has been hit with the reverse spell effect Priori Incantatem. And that means pick a previous book prompt in this readathon worth 40 points. So even if you've already done this, you need to find a different book for this prompt. And if you do all those things, you'll survive, you'll escape Voldemort, and you can safely return with all limbs intact to Hogwarts. And that brings us to the end, the winner ceremony, and you can see a beautiful picture of me and Tabby smiling at you guys because we want to thank you. And over here you can also find all the links to our social media platforms and to our Patreon. You can just click on them. They are hyperlinks and they will bring you to where you need to go. And that's it. That's the entire guidebook. I hope that you guys will enjoy this because that's the reason that we did this. We want the magical community to thrive. We want the book community to thrive, and we want people to be and feel connected again and don't judge each other based on their fandom preference, because that doesn't mean that we have other preferences or opinions as well. We just want this to be one positive and great community, so everyone is welcome to join this readathon, and I mean everyone. And that is it, our baby, our guidebook, our readathon, the Triwizard-a-Thon, which starts on the 1st of November until the 1st of December. And if you participate and post anything or pick your TBR or make a video about it or a reel or TikTok, use our hashtag Triwizard-a-Thon, because that way we can follow everyone and maybe even share your content. And don't forget to check out Tabby's channel as well. Gryffindor Bookworm will be releasing different content about the Triwizard-a-Thon in the upcoming weeks, like our TBR, and then on the 1st of November we'll both do reading vlogs. And if you found me through Tabby, then you're welcome to click this subscribe button as well, because that really helps us out, and that way we know that people love this readathon and we can make it bigger and better next year, because that is definitely our goal. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and let's stay in touch.